Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Keep Pushin'. I'm your host, SUJIT K. Reddy. And today on the show, we have an amazing guest who I just recently met here in Toronto at the United Nations Day celebrations. And this person runs an organization known as SMILE. And I'm going to turn things over to Sukaina, who will tell us a little bit about her background and what led her to start such an amazing organization, and tell us a little bit about the organization. Sukaina, welcome.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. So SMILE Canada Support Services started about almost 10 years ago, actually. And it began because a bunch of us, we got together. We saw that within the Muslim community in particular, we felt, especially with new immigrants and refugees who are coming to Canada, we felt that it was difficult for people to access services and supports. Not everybody knew how to navigate the healthcare system. Not everybody knew what an IEP was.
Right. I don't even know what it is.
And so it's complicated, right?
Yeah.
And so we met family after family after family who expressed that, you know, there are a lot of wonderful supports in Canada, but it's really hard to get to them. And we were talking especially with families who had young children living with disabilities.
Right.
And so we decided to form an organization. And by we, it was just a group of us, volunteers who were interested. And so our focus is really on minority communities, marginalized communities.
Sure.
Our present focus is on the numerous Muslim communities in Canada, but we definitely are not exclusive in that respect. And so, we're approaching our 10th anniversary, and we have about, we have about 90 families registered with SMILE.
Sure. Awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. So after today, I think it's going to grow. So there's that. So tell me a little bit about, you were saying that, you know, families were coming and saying that they were experiencing difficulties in certain areas.
Yeah.
So tell me about those areas that were most common, and what SMILE does to kind of bridge those gaps in those areas.
Sure. So the first thing was just navigating the system. And so people, especially who had moved here recently, they heard that, you know, Canada's got great healthcare and there's all these supports and services, but they weren't really sure how to go about accessing anything. There are some great organizations like Down Syndrome Association and the Cerebral Palsy Association and different organizations that really help educate and support individuals, but not everybody knew about them. And there are a few reasons for that. Language, for example, was and is and continues to be a big one. But also just knowing where to go. For example, people would go to their primary care physician, and sometimes they'd be told about some of these services. More often than not, they were not told. And so basically what SMILE does is we do a needs assessment when we meet a family. It's a non-diagnostic assessment, and basically we just learn about the child, learn about their culture, their language. We learn about, you know, what their environment's like, and then we sit down with the family and we say, okay, you know, what is it that you would like to access? You know, what would you like for your child? And the responses are really just everyday things, like I want my child to be involved in swimming. Or I want my child to go to public school and, you know, just be a kid and have some friends and have fun. So the very first thing we do is an assessment. And then from there, we have support personnel work with the family. The second thing we do is we have social events. So just events where everybody gets together and the goal is just to have fun. And what happens is when we bring people who speak the same language, who maybe share similar sociocultural values, people end up being each other's biggest support, but also the biggest resource.
Right.
So people share, like families share, well, I access this, or I came across this type of funding. And it's it's amazing how it works because we just try and, not even facilitate, but just provide a safe space. That's it.
Yeah, yeah. I think when I first met you guys and your other colleague who couldn't be here today, but that was one of the things that really impressed me because when I was growing up here in Toronto as a child, my family, my parents experienced a lot of the same things.
Yeah.
Not so much as language barrier, but more so just, going to just our regular doctor. God bless him, he was a great doctor.
Yeah.
But, he didn't have all the answers.
Yes.
He didn't know where to point us for certain things. So what you guys are doing is great. So if someone out there, because we broadcast across the world now, if someone out there wants to do what you do, what you guys are doing in their area, or wants to be a part of what you're doing here locally, they're here local, they want to join you. Yeah. What are some things or pieces of advice you could give someone, and also what areas do you need help with to continue what you do?
Sure. So I guess the first thing is if different communities want to do similar things, I think that is so wonderful because, one of the criticisms we get often is, why focus on a specific communities? Mm-hmm. And our response to that is, the one size fits all doesn't actually fit all.
Right.
Like that idea that, supports and services are catered to everyone. It doesn't work if you don't speak the language when you show up to an event and you don't understand what anybody's saying, right? And so I think what happens is the goal is really to connect families to things that already exist. Smile's goal is not to recreate or reinvent. And so really we're that connecting piece. And I think in every community, like everywhere, we need, whether it's us or whether it's somebody else, we need to just make sure we have those connectors between different organizations.
Yes.
I mean, the invite here is a perfect example, and we really appreciate that because, just letting people know about the organization, it's what works, right? Like telling people about different organizations. The second part to that, how could people, I guess, help? I said this at the city council the other day, and I had the chance to speak there and share some of my thoughts. And on every brochure, it was written, "Diversity is our strength." And I think that if I could share one message, it would be diversity is our strength in Canada. And so we shouldn't shy away from, talking to people in their language or bringing people together who share similar, cultural values or social values, because the intersectionality, when we talk about disabilities and different abilities, that intersectionality is really important because people are facing, they're facing difficulties on so many fronts.
Absolutely.
And so I think, we just can't shy away from that.
No.
No.
You mentioned your recent visit to the city council.
Yes.
Please tell us about that, and also tell us about something else that I was reading and seeing with you in terms of something else that happened positively for your organization. So,
yes, I mentioned a recent event at City Council. Smile Canada was just awarded the Access Award from the City of Toronto, which was huge and amazing. It was really a wonderful experience on so many different levels because it is nice to be recognized.
Absolutely, of course.
We're primarily volunteer run. We have over 200 volunteers.
Nice.
And, the credit really goes to them. So for those of you listening, kudos.
Thank you for
yes,
what you do.
Yes, thank you. And it was really, truly an honor because the Access Awards are given to different organizations who've really, contributed to making the city more accessible.
Right.
And so with Smile, we're really hoping to, make it more accessible in that we have access to resources and supports. And, if there is a wall that prevents people from accessing those supports, we're trying to tear that wall down.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What was the other award that you won, though?
Where we met,
Was that, that was the same one? Yeah.
so that was the United Nations award, and that was from the United Nations branch here in Toronto. And again, such an honor, really, truly an honor. And we're not even sure who nominated us for these awards, but it's really been a tremendous few months, and it's just made us more excited to keep going.
Absolutely, because it's needed. What you're doing is needed.
Yeah,
right?
We one of the things I did want to mention is we're working with a lot of new immigrants and refugees to Canada, and recently we've been working with a lot of Syrian newcomers, and it's such a wonderful, beautiful experience. But there are a lot of challenges, and we just need to keep going and keep trying to help people get access.
Absolutely.
To everything that's out there.
So, you mentioned your 200 volunteers.
Yes.
So, again, if someone wants to come and volunteer, what are the areas that they can come, or they can give you their skills and talents? Is it, do you need more translators? Do you need more computer people, data people? What do you need?
That's a great question, and I will say all of the above. And the reason why I say that is because if you have a skill in computers, for example, helping us make the website or social media accessible.
Okay.
If you have a talent in acting or singing or any of the arts, for example, just really showcasing those talents with others. I think with Smile, just like with many other organizations, we're a group that we really want to reach people, but on different levels, and in different ways. And so I will say, the volunteers and even our executive team are made up of people with different backgrounds, from law to teaching, to healthcare education. So it's a wonderful dynamic.
So in your program, or with your programs, who's eligible? Like, what ages are eligible, or what people with what disabilities are eligible?
So the type of disability is actually irrelevant for our purposes, in that anybody can join Smile. And the age, we really cater to from younger children, like around 2 to 3 years old. And our cutoff is around 18. And the primary reason for that is because when you have events that are catered to kids, you want to make sure that it's age appropriate.
Absolutely, yes.
But also, we have to start somewhere. So, like I mentioned, our focus is on the Muslim communities, particularly the new immigrant and refugee communities. But that's our focus. Similarly, our focus is on children. If ever we are able to kind of expand, we hope to be able to do so.
Sure, absolutely. So would you say in the future, there's another organization out there who caters to, say, the Muslim adults community with a disability? Would you partner with them and kind of join with them?
Yeah, definitely. There are a few organizations out there. There's one in particular here in Canada. It's called the Canadian Association of Muslims with Disabilities, CAND, and it's a wonderful organization. And people. I don't want to say graduate, because we don't really have a graduating program.
But I get what you're saying.
But when people kind of move on from sort of accessing Smile support, that's definitely something they access, as well as other programs that are there for young adults here in Ontario. And there aren't enough, but there are a few.
Yeah, fair enough. There could always be more, right?
There could always be more.
So it's 5 years into the future. Where do you see your organization 5 to 10 years from now?
So, one of the things we would love to do in the future is really work with mainstream organizations to help bridge that gap. So, what I mean by that is really just working with organizations on issues of diversity, trying to figure out how can we get people to better access supports. When you're new to Canada and you have a child with a disability and you're trying to figure out everything, with your child and your family, in addition to all that, you have a new immigrant experience, which is quite difficult in many respects. And so, from our end, we hope to help be that connector, but also, from the service provider end, how could we better, support people?
Sure.
Whether it's translating services or, social cultural issues or whatever it is, but how can we make the experience a better one?
Absolutely. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So again, you guys are doing amazing things.
Thank you so much.
I'm fully on board. We're fully on board.
Thank you.
Here at Toronto Disability Channel.
Thank you.
And if people want to get a hold of you or your organization, please let them know how to do that.
Sure. So I believe we're on all types of social media, although I'm not an expert in social media.
You're not the social media person.
I am definitely not the social media person. But we do have a hashtag. That's what it's called, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we do have a hashtag, and our hashtag is United We Smile, and our website is www.smilecan.org.
Smilecan.org.
Smilecan.org. So please feel free to contact us. We would love to talk and share,
Yes.
and hopefully, do our best to support.
Yes, absolutely.
Because we're in it together.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. You've been an amazing guest. Thank you so
you.
much. My name is Sujit K. Reddy, and you can find me on all aspects of social media: Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube. I'm there, and I'm here for you guys as well. So please continue to watch, share the show, and please log into www.thedisabilitychannel.ca and follow all the other great shows that are on the channel as well.
Yeah.
Until then, take care.